Hi, welcome to NonStopChess channel. Today we are going to see how to checkmate your opponent using a bishop and knight. To checkmate the opponent using the bishop and knight is a very rare event. Personally, before learning this mate, it had occurred twice in a rated tournament, and both the times I could not checkmate and had to settle for a draw. This made me practice the checkmate using the bishop and the knight. Learning the bishop and the knight checkmate, though is for a rare occurrence, brings out the beauty of coordination between bishop and the knight. Also, understanding the coordination of minor piece enables you to improve your middle game. The key point to remember about the bishop and the knight checkmate is you force the opponent in the corner of the board to the color of your bishop. This is very important. You will see when we go to the practice. Also note that this position black is weaker since he's just having a king, and white is playing for a win since he has two minor pieces. In the previous video I had told before endgame we have to see we are playing for a win, a draw, or defend a lost position. In this position we are starting, it is the most complex for white to mate the black king. The key to remember in this bishop and the knight checkmate is you have to first take the king to the corner of the board, and then using the knight W maneuver you have to force the king into the corner of our bishop. Do not forget that if you allow the king to escape, it will take another 30 precise moves. The key is the W maneuver of the knight that you have to remember. If you are playing black, how to defend is try to stay in the center and then move to the corner of the opposite color of your opponent bishop. Now let us start this position and see how white will force the checkmate. In this position now, black will move to the center. White now has to take his king and first try to move the black king from the center. So he moves to king e2. Black will stay in the center, so will play king e5. White is going for king f3. The idea is to move the black king to either the square of a1 or h8. Now black, since to delay the checkmate, will try to go to the corner of a8 and h1. So he moves to the corner a8 so he can prolong the checkmate. Now white will go to king e4 to the center and pushing black. Now black still want to stay in the center, so plays king c5. Now the bishop is used to cut off the king from going into the center. The king is forced to move to king c6. Now white will bring the king and force to the a8 corner of the black. Black again tries to stay in the center, so he can go to b5 or d7. He prefers b5 since d7 will take him closer to the h8 square. King d5. So black now has to go to the corner of a8. He can also come to the king a4 square and attack the bishop, so he can try to escape to the square of, he can try to escape using a4 and then b3 and again moving to the h1. This is a blunder. Ideally, a person who doesn't know the bishop knight checkmate, since if he comes there, it gets easier to mate him. Let us see how. Now the bishop will move to bishop c5. The black will have to come back, else he will easily get mated in the a1 corner. Now the knight will be forced so that it controls the b6 square and push the king to the corner. Now here, please be very careful, since a wrong move by white, by moving it to king c6, can cause a stalemate. So if you move the king to c6, the black doesn't have any move for his king, so it is a draw. So please be careful not to play that move. So instead, you have to try to protect the b8 square. So move the bishop and make sure there is no escape square for the king on the b8. Now black will try to go to king b7, since he wants to escape to the corner and try to not get mated. Knight e5. So that way, now the king is not going to come to the other side of the board. Now the white will come to a situation where he is forced to the side of the board, the black king. This is the first achievement that we need to come to in this bishop knight checkmate. So you have to force the opponent's king to the side. So black now has come to the opposite side of our bishop. He's come to the a8 square. Let us see now the W maneuver will start from here. So knight is played to c4, king a7, knight to b6, now blocking the king to stay in the a8 corner. Black is forced to come to a6. Now the bishop has to go and block the a7 square so it doesn't go again to a7. The W maneuver starts. So from knight b6, it moves to nd5. So the king will again go back. Now the knight forming the W pattern from b6 to d5 to knight b4. So if you notice, the knight is moving from b6 to d5 and then to b4. Again it will move to d3 and eventually it will come to b2. We will see in the following moves how that pattern occurs. So now after playing nb4 check, black is forced to move to a5. Now white will move king c5. Again black is forced to king a4 since knight is protecting the a6 square. Now king has come to a4, king c4. Black will now try to retreat so it can escape. You have to play this move by white, else the black king can escape through this square. So be careful when the middle of this position occurs. People will usually try to tend to use the bishop to cover that square and by mistake allow the black king to escape through b3 and eventually come to the center or to the h1 square. So black tries to go back to king a5. Now bc7 check will force the black to come to a4. You have to play a waiting move here to bd8. So black is now forced to move to king a3. Now again the knight starts its w maneuver to knight d3. The king will try to delay by going to king a4. You move the knight and give a check from nb2. The king is forced now to a3. The white king will come and protect the knight. King is now forced to king a2. Now white will play a important move, bishop e7, to block this diagonal so that black doesn't escape again back to the a8 square. Now king a1. So now we have achieved an important milestone of bringing the black king to the exact black color of our bishop. So we are very close to now mating the black king. We just have to make sure we don't let him escape through the b1 or not through the a rank. So what you have to play now is one careful move of nd3. This is so you cut off the king from moving in the rank, and then the bishop makes sure is cutting off the a3. So black will try to come to the escape square. Here you play the king to b3. Again black is forced to come to a1. Here you move the king to c2, which leaves black to only square king a2. Now you force the knight to give a check. Black has to now move to a1, and using the bishop you just give a check in bishop f6 and it's a checkmate. Hope you understood this beautiful checkmate using the bishop and the knight. Summary: it is important to note that there are other possible mating positions using the knight and the bishop. For instance, we can mate the king on the side of the board. Please be careful not to blunder as stalemate in the side corridor, like we saw in this position which happened where black is in stalemate. This is a very lengthy and hard checkmate. If you give an escape square, the chances are it might need another 33 precise moves. Hope you understood one of the complex checkmate being made simple by this video. The best way is to practice with your friends or family a mate using the bishop and the knight. Happy learning. Thank you.